puncher's chance. Watch me lay these hands like a preacher gained a bunch of fans. Ain't about who the favorite, who the best, they a bunch of stands. Know I'm highly favored cause these fists got me out mini jam. They say fight the power, but I got power to fight now. Know we gon' be barking at the way and tell them pipe down. Jab, right hook, uppercut, you see the light now. Now the crowd begging for the KO like right now. Never took an L with my chin up, fold them like a sit-up. This trainer going pops, Craig, get up. Never took an L with my chin up, fold them like a sit-up. This trainer going pops, Craig, get up.
Welcome to the Boxing Head Podcast, where everything stays in the square circle. We are your hosts, CJ, Grid, the boxing enthusiast, and Taz. Look, before we even start this topic, it could be touchy for a lot of huge Crawford fans, but let me say this before we even start. You know, Boxing Head Podcast, we are not one of those yes men podcasters. Like, we real big fans of you, but like, if you want some BS, we gonna call you out for your BS. You know, it ain't personal. It's just like when you say crazy stuff, you know, sometimes you just gotta, you know, matter of fact, we all got that. We all got that spot sometime in life where somebody gotta like tap us on our shoulder and be like, yeah, bro, you need to sit down a little bit because you tripping. So Crawford's claim, man. So Crawford was on this he was on this podcast called Round for Round. Is two UFC fighters, Kamari Osman, and it was another fighter. I forgot his name. My apologies. But yeah, they asked him about is Crawford, not Crawford, but they asked if Spence was a Hall of Fame fighter. So I'm gonna show the article. And they asked him, and he says, right now, no. And then he says, how? So he says, Crawford says this, he fought in one division, he unified, he had 3 belts, he wasn't undisputed. What I'm saying is they already, and he said, and what I'm saying is they already called him a weight bully. He beat Kell Brook off a loss and an eye injury. He beat Sean Porter. I don't want to sound like I'm hating on him, but honestly, I don't know if he make it to the Hall of Fame with the accolades that he didn't get right now, you know, or didn't got right now. You know how those boxers are. Sometimes they be off. Off, dog. Man, so before we really break down Spence's resume and stuff, how do y'all feel about Crawford's statement? Like, do y'all feel like he was just in the place of just a place of reasoning, or you think it's still a little bit of hating? Tez, I'll start with you because your pop's probably on here. This is
no, I don't think he hating. I think he was just coming from a place of being annoyed because when he even said it in an interview, when he moved up, they was comparing them two. And they were trying to downplay what Crawford did at 140 when he moved up to 147 because, you know, they were trying to get them to fight. So I think he was coming from that place. And then what he ended up doing to Errol make him think that that Errol is not a he funny. What he ended up doing to Errol make him think that Errol is not a Hall of Famer. But
yeah.
What he said really don't make sense because, you know, we gonna break it down, but what he said really don't make sense to me, to be honest.
Yeah. What about you, G?
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like if I respect all these fighters. I mean, if that's the truth that he wants, like he's entitled to his opinion. I mean, I just feel like it's easier to say that from a standpoint of, oh, I was undisputed at 140, or, you know, all his accomplishments. Mm-hmm. When you look at the titles, you know what I'm saying, or the accomplishments of Crawford,
yeah,
you know, you would think that he had the respect of all these people. We still question, like, somehow the respect that we give Crawford. I mean, yeah, you got the titles, but at the same time, when you look at Errol Spence and like everything that he's been through, the champions he done fought, you know, and we'll put Spence in the Hall of Fame just on heart alone. You know what I mean? So, yep. You know, I just feel like it's boxing. It's an opinionated sport. I don't think Crawford's necessarily wrong. I don't think he's right either. It's just one man's opinion.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But
Let me say this one more thing before you get to breaking it down too.
Mhm.
I think by him talking down on Earl, really dismissed his win against him. Like to me,
Mhm.
because especially when he say, "Oh, he beat Kell Brook off of after he fought Triple G and he had an eye injury." Well, you fought Earl after he had a whole car accident. Like,
Yep.
so we can make that same argument
Mhm.
when you play that game. So I think he needs to stop doing that because it kind of diminishes his own career when he do that. But
Yeah. I think I agree with both of y'all. I think he like G was saying and just like you were saying, Tez, he has a right to his opinion. Like, he get in that ring and he fight. Where I'm coming from a place of um just the Bassam family. I feel like it's dishonorable. You know what I'm saying? To sit up there and just straight up say he ain't Hall of Fame, knowing that you was chasing this man so yourself can have a legacy. Because let's be real, accolades, you was undisputed at 140, but it wasn't really no dog. Nobody can really name a fight like, oh yeah, at 140 that Crawford did, where they can go back and watch it from time to time. You know what I mean?
Gamboa, Gamboa and maybe Victor Postal, but Gamboa.
Maybe Victor Postal, but Gary Antoine Russell had a better performance than Bud against Postal. If we really comparing apples, just like Crawford just did with Kell Brook, Gary Antoine Russell had a better performance. I think it's dishonorable. Spence gave you a shot. Y'all made money together. You went in that ring with him. His situation and his story is dishonorable to take all that away from him. That man got them belts from everybody. It wasn't no vacant belt. He took it. And to just say that, I think it's dishonorable. I think it has a little bit to do with, I think, and this is my opinion, I think Bud somehow, of course, he still feel like he got something to prove. And I think he feels like that is because I think the fame from beating Spence, the expectations that he thought he would have versus to what it is now, is he feels like he's not as popular. And sometimes when you see Spence pop up like on Twitter or anything like that, he see that people still show him love. He thought the beat down would make everybody turn against him, but like with some people, dog, some people are just likable people. You know what I'm saying? Like Spence is one of them guys. He just a likable person, and like people respect him just based off the fights, man. So we gonna get into that for sure. Like, so let's start off with his boss rep, man. Errol Spence Jr., 28 wins, 22 knockouts, 1 loss. Welterweight, of course, in the welterweight division, 5'9.5", 72-inch arm reach. Let's move to his resume, and we can pick this apart a little bit too. So, I started off with Kell. Let's start off with Kell Brook. Kell Brook was his first fight, and I know he was mentioning about his eye being broke from the Triple G fight. So, for people that's on here, Kell Brook beat Sean Porter to get the IBF belt. Then Kell Brook went up to 160 to fight Triple G, and he hurt his eye. Well, he got his eye socket broke from Triple G, and then he moved back down to 147 to fight Spence. So Kell Brook was undefeated at 147. So,
and keep in mind, Spence broke the other eye.
Right.
Yeah.
The other eye. Yeah, Spence broke the other eye, which is how the TKO happened, and he ended up getting the belt. The other eye. So I'm glad G said that because we're gonna revisit Kell Brook again with both his broken eyes. We're gonna revisit that. Next, we got Lamont Peterson. So this is probably like my favorite version of Spence. My favorite version.
Yeah,
but what people don't know, the reason why the Lamont Peterson fight happened is because Keith Thurman didn't want to fight Spence. And Lamont Peterson was the number 1 contender for the WBC belt. So Keith Thurman and Lamont Peterson was supposed to fight. If that was, that was his mandatory. but I think Keith had got hurt. Then remember when Keith got hurt and he couldn't fight. So Lamont Peterson chose to give him a shot, and Lamont Peterson is a former champion. He's a former champion, so let's not take that away from him.
Oh, that. Let me say this.
Uh-huh.
Him and Lamont was friends too.
Yeah.
Shout out to Shakur and Keyshawn. But yeah, him and Lamont was best friends.
Right. They were. Yeah. They was real good friends. Like he said, Lamont Peterson during the Olympic, when they was getting ready for the Olympics, he said he came and he taught all the Olympic fighters. Like he went there and trained them. So Lamont actually helped him, prepare for the Olympics. So y'all got anything on that one that y'all want to add in for that Lamont Peterson one?
No, that was a great performance.
Very good performance, man.
Yeah. That's my favorite version of Spence, man. Like,
yeah.
So next one, man, Carlos Ocampo. Of course, he was actually a mandatory for the IBF, so he had to fight his mandatory, and that was a 1 round KO body shot, and that's really about it with that. And of course, Keith Thurman was still hurt, so he needed to fight. And I think around this time, Sean Porter and Danny Garcia had already fought, and Sean Porter had won. And he ended up getting that what was that? The WBC belt. He ended up getting that belt from because we remember when Keith was so injured that he had to let go of the WBC belt, and then Danny and Sean Porter fought. So this is around that time. So man, let's go to Mikey Garcia. I think this was when Spence really had his claim to fame right here. And I'm going to explain. Me and G smiling, dog, because I think me and G watched that fight like over and over again, dog. Mikey, man, Errol beat the hell out of Mikey Garcia, dog.
Hey, he beat the soul out of Mikey. And the thing is, it's funny because people was telling Mikey Garcia, like, dog, you don't want to do that.
Yep.
He like, no, I see something. Yeah. All about, you could go back on YouTube right now and just put in Spence versus Mikey Garcia and watch all the little conversations and the predictions. And it was like, man, listen, they got boxers that Spence was sparring with, heavyweights, middleweights, all type of stuff. They like, you don't want to.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. And then one dude specifically said this. He said, listen, if you're gonna go in there with Errol, you're pretty much better off getting knocked out than going 12 rounds. Because if you go 12 rounds, you're going to come out of that ring missing something. And I know what Mikey Garcia was missing. He beat the soul out of dude for 12 rounds.
Yeah.
That was not cool.
Yeah, because he was done after that.
He quit, literally. Yeah. His brother, Mr. Garcia Sr., he was like, man, Mikey don't even come to the gym no more. He wasn't even going to hang out in the gym with his family no more. He just gone.
Done. Now let me go back to that one. I'm gonna go back to the resume. People fall asleep on this, man. Like Mikey Garcia during this time, he was on the pound for pound list. I believe he was like number 4. But look at his record before he lost. He was 39-0, and he was a 4 weight division champ. Because remember, he went to 140 and he had beat Robert Easter. And I think that's why he got so confident in Spence. But he was Mikey Garcia was that guy back then.
He beat Bronner too.
Bro. Yes, he did. But even in that fight where he fought Mikey, listen, them fans, when Mikey Garcia came in that ring, bro, it was thunderous in that mug. Like, so I know exactly what you mean. Mikey was that man. He was like damn near a Canelo at that time. You feel me? Like, as far as the Hispanic community, you couldn't say nothing about Mikey Garcia, bro. Facts.
Pops, I don't want to take you through. I don't want to take you to that other side of the alley, man. Spence may have had issues that fight, but Bud Crawford had a crutch as well. But I don't want to go there.
No, Spence had a broken rib.
Oh, yeah, he did. He had a broken rib.
He fought Crawford with a broken rib. Yep. Yes. Facts. That's
He
on paper.
Did he
Yeah.
ever
Yeah.
come out and say that? Because I never seen him. He just said he won't make no
Never.
excuse.
He never exactly, but he never said it because he didn't want to lose the fight. He didn't want
Mhm.
the doctors and all that stuff to be like, oh, you can't fight. He like, no, you ain't. I ain't messing this up for the boxing world. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna just have to go in here. He was like, and that's why Spence looked at him on stage was like, you gonna thank me for making this?
Mhm. And plus,
He knew it.
he didn't want Crawford to know that. They would have they would
Nah,
have been aiming for that.
nah, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, so that Mikey Garcia fight, I think that was his claim to fame. Because Mikey had a big following, a real huge following. They had that fight in Texas too. In Dallas, yep. So Sean Porter, man, Spence versus Sean Porter, that was for a unification for the IBF. And like I said before, Porter had beat Danny Garcia to get that WBC title. This is probably like one of my favorite fights in this century, like for sure. Like that Sean Porter and that Errol Spence. I'm gonna be, maybe y'all agree with it, or maybe not, but I feel like that was the best version of Sean Porter that I saw. The best
bro.
version.
We was watching everything from the post conferences to
Yep.
the training they was doing. Sean was back in the pool. When
Yep.
you see a boxer go get back in the pool, bro, he's swimming laps. Yeah, because his daddy Kenny knew what he was up against, and he was not about to, fall off on some fitness. Nah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
What about you, Ted? You got anything to plug on that one?
Yeah, that was one of the fights of the century. But I think, like you said, Kenny knew exactly who Earl was because I think he helped train him in the Olympics or something.
Olympics. Yep, he did.
So yeah, he knew what was going on.
I don't think
Okay,
Spence
I got
mentioned
you.
it.
No, Spence didn't mention it, but I'll get those receipts for you. I'll get those receipts.
It was like people around his camp that was telling everybody.
Yeah.
But
Because they was telling him not to take it. They was telling him not to fight. He like, no, I can't mess this bag up. So yeah, it's the truth for sure. But I'll get the receipts for you, Pop.
Yeah. So after that Sean Porter fight, he won. He had that knockdown in the 11th round. And for Spence fans, I don't think we really paid attention. Like he stopped working with Blu-ray back when he fought Mikey Garcia. And there's something that I didn't pay attention to that he mentioned during the camp of Sean Porter. He said he really didn't work out or nothing. He said he played his game, and he said when the people came, like the media, he said he would play the game, do a few push-ups, and then when the media came, he did his thing, and then that was it. We didn't really pay attention to that, and probably like a few weeks or like a month later, he got into that bad car accident where he was ejected out of his Ferrari. When he was ejected out of his Ferrari and he was in the air, he was already unconscious. So when he fell to the ground, that's dead weight just hitting concrete, and he hit bare concrete. For people who get grossed out by his picture, I'm gonna just show the picture when he was in the hospital. So the craziest thing about this picture right here is they had this is back when Blue Blood Sports, he had interviewed Ebony Spence, his sister, and big shout out to Ebo. I talk to her from time to time because she helped me out with my taxes and stuff. Shout out to Ebo, but she told me that this picture right here, she said this was like kind of afterwards when they worked on him a little bit. She said when they first went to the hospital, his face looked worse than this.
Yeah, it looked like he was healing up right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like he was kind of.
But let me show you how much of a dog he is, because after this fight, he fought Danny Garcia. But let's get down to the details, So October 2019, professional boxer Errol Spence Jr. was involved in a serious car crash in Dallas, sustained the following injuries: face lacerations, a fractured jaw, concussion, and damaged teeth. He says Spence was not wearing a seatbelt at the time of the crash. He was hospitalized for several days and underwent surgery to repair his facial injuries. He made a full recovery and returned back to the boxing ring in April of 2021. And that's wrong. He made his comeback that in 20, I believe it was 2020 against Danny Garcia. Yeah, in December against Danny Garcia. I just want everybody who listening to think about that, bro. You got a fractured jaw. You had to get facial surgery. And you had to get partials in your teeth because you had teeth missing. And you get back in the ring and you fight Danny Garcia. And Spence said he was 60% when he was in the ring with Danny Garcia. He said he was still hurting from the injuries. But I'm going to let y'all cook on just the injury and just the Danny Garcia fight. If y'all got anything y'all want to add to that one.
Yeah, I just want to add to the fact that after he got injured and went to the hospital and stuff, this man didn't even want to take the elevator.
Yep.
He didn't even want to take the elevator. He was taking the stairs up to where his hospital was. They like, no, get in the elevator. He like, no, injured and everything. Every day walking up flights of stairs to get to his hotel room. Yep. He said he didn't like the way his legs felt after the injury. So he was like, every day I'm gonna hit the stairs. I'm gonna hit the stairs going down. I'm gonna hit the stairs going up. So he like, on my last day, I was just like, I'm walking the stairs, taking the stairs. He was like, man, I finally got my legs somewhat back up under me. So just that thought process right there, like, man, that's why he always gonna be the people's champ, man. He always gonna have that space in the fans' heart because that's what sell fights. That's what make people want to support Errol no matter what, because we don't hear stuff like that. We got people who ain't injured, don't never take no stairs.
Right.
Straight elevator. Can be going to the first floor. Do the second floor. Can be going to the second floor. Like, man, I'm gonna just wait on the next one. It's full. They ain't even gonna be like, all right, the stairs right here. Let me just run up a couple. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So just to be like in a life-threatening car crash and still got that type of grit, man, I gotta support that.
What about you, Tez?
No, I just think sometimes people don't understand. Like when you had a freak accident like that and you come back within a year, like that's unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
I done sprained my ankle and was in the boot for a couple of weeks.
God.
You know what I'm saying?
God.
So yeah, it just showed like the type of work he put in and the type of grit he got.
Yeah.
But then for him to go and fight Danny Garcia, and then the way he did Danny Garcia was one of the top welterweights at the time. You know what I'm saying? He did Danny Garcia so bold. Yeah, Danny Garcia, Daddy was slapping him in the corner talking about wake up.
Danny!
Come on, Danny.
Danny was scared to swing. He was scared to let his hands go. So that showed his power. Just like Mikey Garcia, like as soon as Mikey Garcia felt Errol Spence power, he was scared to let his hands go.
Mm-hmm.
But, it just speaks volumes of the type of fighter he was.
Yeah. And then he got hit after the bell with one of them Danny Garcia hooks. Yep. And he looked at the camera and was like, I was like,
yep,
you did that. Yep. You did that. Because everybody, and it was like all the the commentators is, can he take a punch? Is he going to be able to take Danny's power and all that?
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, he looked good to me.
Yep. And Danny was dependent on that too. I remember his dad was like, yeah, man, I was looking in Spence's eyes, man, and he's not the same man anymore. I was like, Danny's dad, bro. Yeah, Danny's dad always talk. Oh, yeah. And to pick up what G said, Spence had no physical therapy. He didn't go to physical therapy at all.
Yeah.
That's correct.
None. Did everything on his own. That's why, hitting them stairs and yeah.
Mm-hmm. So everybody hold on to that. Keep that in mind what we just said. We're going to go to a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to go down to the last two fights. And then we going you know what? There needs to be some accountability if you're gonna call out somebody and say, "Oh, he beat Kell Brook," with a broken eye, and he beat Sean Porter, he was unified. If you're gonna go down a man's resume, let's go down your resume, bro. So after we done talking about Spence, we're gonna go down Terence Crawford's resume, and we're gonna break his resume down. But we'll do all that when we come back from a commercial break.
Yeah, and Spence beat Kale at Kale's house.
Yeah. Oh, at the
It's
crib.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the crib.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll be back.
We'll be back.
Nothing in this world can stop the sun.
Welcome to the Resilient Radio Stream YouTube channel. If you're in right now, go ahead and hit that like button. If you have a YouTube page, go ahead and hit subscribe. I'm just going to go through the different shows that we have on the Resilient Radio Stream app and on www.resilientradio.net and also the Resilient Radio Stream YouTube channel. First, we got The Quiet Storm Monday through Thursday from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. That's on Monday through Thursday. Tuesday, we have the Totally 80 show that airs every Tuesday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. with DJ Alan Khan. Also, later on that Tuesday, we got Toxic R&B with Lucy L. Vine from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. and her Toxicity Hour is from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Recently, she's been doing prank calls, which has been very interesting. Y'all make sure y'all check that out on Tuesdays, those two shows. Also, later on that Tuesday, we got Detroit Girl Transformed with Tony Carter. Go ahead and check out her newest episode on the Resilient Radio Stream YouTube channel. Another great episode. Big shout outs to Tony Carter. And Friday, let's move to Friday. Friday, we have the Aunt Taylor show. Friday from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Also, that same day, that Friday, later on that day, we have the Variety Music Show with Resilient J. Fridays, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Saturday, we have the 90s Music Show with DJ Prasmatic. Saturday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And right here on the Resilient Radio Stream YouTube channel, we have A Step in Time, the Ultimate Line Dancing Show. Make sure you check out all the different dances they have on here and the episodes they have on here to learn how to line dance if you up to doing that. Also, we have another show, a new show, the What Up Doe show that airs right after Boston Head podcast. So after this podcast is over, go ahead and tune in to the Resilient Radio Stream app or www.resilientradio.net. This is hosted by DJ Butter. He's worked with a lot of artists. He's worked with D12, Eminem, Royce the 5'9". He's a DJ and he's a Detroit producer. Make sure you check this out. There's some real hip hop music on here. You may hear some hip hop music you ain't never heard before, especially some Detroit stuff too. So make sure y'all check that out. Make sure you check out all these shows Monday, Tuesdays, Friday, Saturday. Check this out on the Resilient Radio Stream app and the What Up Doe show that airs tonight at 9 p.m. from 10 p.m. Make sure y'all check that out and show DJ Butter some love, man. He is great when it comes to that missing, man. So make sure y'all check that out. I'm going to bring my brothers back because we about to continue to cook. Let me check the comments. I see a comment in here. Oh, Fire Radio. Thank you. I appreciate you. Pops is still here. Pops, you still hanging? I hope you okay, man. We just hang on, all right? We almost finished. I know that's your boy, but let's move on to that resume. So, your Daniel Ugas, so if people don't remember, Spence was supposed to fight Pacquiao for the WBA title, because if everybody remember, when he finally came back to fight, he fought Pacquiao and he lost the belt. So Pacquiao was the champ, and this was supposed to be like a passing the torch fight, but Spence had endured an injury during his sparring to where he messed up his retina, and he had to have surgery, and he couldn't fight. So Yordenis Ugas took the place of Manny Pacquiao, and he beat the sleeves off of Pacquiao. Do y'all agree with that?
Yeah. That was an old Pacquiao though. I'm gonna say that.
My thing is, he better be lucky he was fighting Ugas and not Spence. Spence would have killed that man.
Oh yeah.
I think so too, because Spence had worked out the Blu-ray. Yeah. I remember they was interviewing Blu-ray, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm training Spence for the Pacquiao fight." He's like, "I promise you," he said, "this will be Pacquiao's last fight." Like, yeah, he was like, "I'm training Earl to hurt him every time he touches him." But then he stopped working with Blu-ray. But that's a different story. Pop said this is Errol Spence Appreciation Show. It's crazy. Look, man. It's Bud's fault. Bud, the one that opened up his mouth, man. All he had to do was say, "Yeah, I think he's a Hall of Famer. He got all these belts. He got in the ring with me, and we fought it out. Yeah, of course." But this is why we're here now. So after that fight happened, man, that was when we thought Spence was back. He called out Terence Crawford. We know it was some contract issues, some stuff going on, some back and forth going on. They were in negotiations, and then next thing you know, Bud pulled out of negotiations and he went with BLK Prime to fight David Avanesian. The same day of that fight, I don't know if people know this, but Errol Spence got into another car accident. And this time he mentioned, because he was actually on live, and he mentioned that it was a kid who was out joyriding, and he hit his car straight ahead. And Spence was mentioning, if y'all see this car right here, the reason why it could have been worse, but Spence said he drove his armored car, his armed car. So it's a little bit heavier, and it is built a little different. Because Spence was saying if he drove any other car that day, he probably wouldn't be here right now. He said because the car hit him straight ahead. And this is the same day of the fight that Crawford fought Avanesian. So if people don't know, Spence was supposed to announce a fight because everybody thought the Crawford fight was done. Crawford went his way. It was told that he was supposed to fight Keith Thurman at 154. But since the car accident, they had to cancel the whole thing because he said, his legs wasn't the same. And then that's when we got finally in July. And peep this out, y'all. This car accident happened. Like in December or January. So, and then he fought in July. So that last fight was that brutal Terence Crawford fight that he had.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, go ahead, of course.
All right. So when after Spence fought Ugas, right?
Yeah.
I remember turning to my pops. We was watching it. I'm like, I can see how Bud would beat him. I remember saying, and then when Bud fought Avanesian, I was like, nah, Earl about to kill him, man. Because Spence didn't look good against Ugas to me. Like he looked all right.
It wasn't himself.
It was all right. And then when Bud fought Avanesian, I was like, oh no, because Bud didn't look good against him. It didn't look good at all. And I was like, oh no, Earl about to beat him. And that's when I swung back to Earl. But after that Ugas fight, I'm like, I looked at my pops, I'm like, and I can see how Bud beat him. But
Hey, one thing I want to say about Ugas. Ugas released a statement about this Hall of Fame thing too.
yeah, yeah.
And Ugas was basically just saying, like, man, I definitely think Errol a Hall of Famer. I love sharing the ring with him. You know, it's been my honor. You know, even though he got the best of me, it's all good. Like, I want to
Mhm.
see him in the Hall of Fame. That man did. He a hell of a person, hell of a boxer. Hall of Fame material, pretty much.
Yep.
That's how you handle yourself as a champion, as a boxer.
Yeah.
Like, I understand, you feel me? Crawford, he got that in him where he just always on 10. But I just feel like when you the champion, you ain't got nothing to prove or say.
Yeah.
Just just be that. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Just be that.
Yep.
That corniness ain't gonna get you no more fans though.
Nope. It's not. It's not. And like, just I mean, like, he just dismantled his best fight on his resume and the best fight, of his career. You you shot it down by saying this man wanted. He made it seem like he ain't Hall of Fame. Look, what did he do? He did this. Like, you just shot down your whole resume. But it's fine. We'll be on his resume in just a moment. Um, he said, yeah, he whooped and he couldn't say anything but right.
But no, see, all right. So we about to go to the Terrence and Spence fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this is where I think this is the way he did Earl
Mm-hmm.
is where he getting this how he thinking. And because of when he moved up to 140,
Mm-hmm.
they was comparing him so much and they were trying to downplay Bud's career. And this is why he's still holding that to this day.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he's saying, okay, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer because of this. And he's still
Mm-hmm.
comparing him to his career. And if you watch the interview, that's exactly what he's doing. He's like, oh, he didn't do this, and everything I'm doing, everything I did, he's still trying to do. That was his whole thing. So I think Bud got a valid way of thinking, but it's not good. It's not a good for his career when he say that because he diminishes his own career because this is his best win. This is his win that
Mm-hmm.
catapulted him into who he is now. So
Yeah.
Snack.
you talk about
Hey, Vic, this is my biggest fight of my life, man. I'm gonna need you to come through on this one. Nah, let me stop. But yeah, man. So, like, we just broke everything down basically, in the quickest form that we can, of just like Spence, his claim to fame, and just how people end up liking him. So, Terence Crawford, he said what he had to say, and he has a right to say that. He shared the ring with him. He's been in the ring. He's given his life in the ring. But let's look at his resume,
And
because
before we do that,
yeah,
I do want to add the fact that Sylvester Stallone is in the Boxer Hall of Fame.
right, for being Rocky, and that's a fictional character.
yeah, that's crazy.
Let that
Even
let
though
that sink in out there. Let that
I
sink in, y'all.
yeah, bro.
Yeah,
Let
I
that sink in, and then we'll revisit that after that sinks in and
yep,
boils in your mind, and then let's go over this resume.
yep. And it's plenty of fight like to add on what G said.
These
It's
folks,
plenty of fighters in the Hall of Fame who's fought in only one division. Plenty. You got Aaron Pryor. You got Marvin Hagler. Like, and those are just two names I got off the top of my head, but there's plenty of fighters.
Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah. They probably got Apollo Creed in there too. But yeah, man, let's drop that bomb. Let's drop that resume. And then after we done, I'm gonna pop both resumes and we're gonna have a clear mind, and we're gonna have a very clear mind on this resume. I don't want to be pointed out like we hating, but here it is. So Terence Crawford became the undisputed champ at 140, right? And I don't know if people know this, but when you're undisputed, you have a chance. When you have all the belts, you have a chance to move up to the next weight and fight any champion that has a belt. He chose to fight Jeff Horn. He could have fought Spence, the IBF. He could have went up and fought Spence. He could have went to fight Keith Thurman. But he chose Jeff Horn, who was the WBO champ, and he had recently had a fight. He took that belt from Pacquiao, which was it was very controversial fight because Pacquiao fought in Australia. I think Pacquiao won. Jeff Horn is from Australia. They had Australian judges. The fight was in Australia, and I feel like he got robbed. But that's just my opinion. Do y'all remember that fight? If so, how do y'all feel about the outcome of that? Because I don't want to make it seem like I'm hating or nothing.
No, I remember bits and pieces of the fight, but yeah, I thought Pacquiao won.
Yeah.
But we not gonna do that though. With Spit,
Right.
I mean, when Bill moved up, that was the only fight he could get. Nobody else wanted to fight him. So we not gonna do. We not gonna.
So I'm gonna rewind you back. You forgot what I said.
All right, go ahead.
When you're undisputed, you can move up to the next weight class and you can fight any champion you want.
Yeah, you will become a mandatory.
The sanctioning bodies will make that fight happen.
Yeah, you become a mandatory.
Yeah. So it's not that. And damn, I need to find this video. I can't show the video in here because YouTube, but Bo Mack was in an interview. This was like a few years back, and they said they chose to go the WBO route when they went up to 147.
Yeah, because he knew when he moved up, they wasn't gonna fight him immediately. So he went to Jeff Horn, which he knew Jeff Horn was gonna take the fight. So he knew he was gonna beat him, and when he got the belt, they wasn't gonna be able to duck him. So that's why he went. That's probably why he went that route. But
If y'all can see, that's his MO. He does that every time.
Mm-hmm.
He got undisputed after fighting Errol. Who he go fight after that?
Madrimov.
yeah, he gotta go. He gotta move up and take somebody's belt, and then he gotta force, the big
The
dog.
thing is, after you get all those belts, there's no way you should even be fighting the Avanesian. But I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just me.
We don't want to be called out. We not hating. We just
Hold on, man.
I'm not trying. I'm just saying, because think about it. We're comparing Errol to Crawford. Think about it. Errol got out of the hospital fighting for his life with the Reaper, with the demon himself. Just threw this man 20 feet up in the air, landed on his face, and he gets done with this and somehow says, "I ain't taking the tune-up. Give me Danny." What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
What are we seriously talking about? This man couldn't walk. Got in the ring with Danny. This nigga get all the belts and go fight a Ebony or whatever this is. What are we talking about? My thing is Errol Spence Errol don't even want what's his name? He don't even want Keith Thurman. You think he finna go in there and fight some broomstick? No, he's not doing that. That's what I'm saying. You feel me? And all respect to Crawford again, because he chased the titles down. I don't care if it was strategic or not. He fought the fight. The fight was great. I mean, he knocked most of these guys he knocked out. I'm not saying that, but to dismiss a man Hall of Fame after you hearing stories like this is just nasty work. It's crazy. The Errol never made an excuse. He never said, "Oh, okay, well, I need some tune-ups. I need a tune-up after the tune-up." No, it wasn't even about that. He man, I know what my people want to see. I know what my fans want to see. Give me Danny.
Yep.
Can't even see straight.
Yep.
It's not. That's not comparable to me.
Yeah.
That's just across the board. That's not comparable. We can't say that. It's not comparable. Why are we talking about that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And let me show something, man. Let me show this picture again, bro. A lot of people don't make it to talk or even get back, bro. He had face surgery, a fractured jaw, and got in the ring just to get hit in the face again. A lot of people don't make it out of these type of car accidents, man. A majority of people die, man.
Right. And one thing I do want to say is this is not. We can't use this car accident stuff to make Errol's case about boxing. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, two fighters get in that ring. We don't know. Yep. We're not supposed to necessarily know. What neither one of them went through is who won the fight. That's what the judges see. Judges don't care about no cars. They don't care about all that. So that's why I give Crawford his credit, because he lives a sober life. He does what he do, but at the same time, it's like we're human. We can't help but to acknowledge that. And you don't see that all the time. So
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Pops, if we got enough time, I'm going to drop the link in the comments so you can jump in. But if we you know what? I'm going to try to get through this, Pops. I'm going to see if you can if you can jump on. So Jose Benavidez Jr., you know, it was some animosity behind that fight. And I mean, Jose Benavidez 27-0, so you know, we can't take that away from him. So that was actually a good fight, though. I actually watched that fight. That was a pretty good fight.
Yeah,
that was a pretty good fight. He got that knockdown and in the 12th round. But let's do this because let's keep it a buck, right? Terence Crawford said Kell Brook had a broke eye, right? Jose Benavidez Jr. got shot in the leg, and he literally had a knee brace on his leg, and he barely could move that leg because he got shot in that leg. So, and only reason why I'm doing that is because Crawford said that Kell Brook had a broken eye when he mentioned about.
And that's why I said like he shot himself in the foot with saying all that, man.
Yep.
Because now you can critique his whole everybody at 47. You know what I'm saying? When he make that statement, you can critique everybody he fought at 47. But go ahead.
Yep. Fact. He wasn't shot in the head. It was fragments. It was fragments that hit his head. But he drove himself to the hospital, which is no doubt. We don't want to compare traumas because trauma is trauma. So I'm not saying that getting hit in the head, regardless if it's a buckshot or it's still getting hit in the head. So I'm glad both fighters was able to get out of that. But let's not move the goalpost, Pops. We're here because of what Bud said.
Yeah.
Let's get back to it. Amir Khan, look, we ain't really got to talk about that one. He quit.
Next.
Amir Khan, his chin been gone since forever.
Next.
Mean Machine. Pops, that was a knockdown. Pops, that was a knockdown. That wasn't called. And that's when he was like, you know what? And the reason why I say that is because, oh, man, look what we have here. Kell Brook. So, look, we going to stay on Kell Brook. So, it was a few things. Like G said earlier, he had 2 broken eyes. And peep this out. He fought at 147 against Crawford, and he hasn't fought at 147 since he fought Spence.
Yeah, he fought 3 fights at 54 and then moved back down.
Didn't have a full camp. And his original trainer pulled out and was like, I'm not training you for this fight because it's last minute and it's Terence Crawford. So Kell Brook found some trainer on Instagram, and that's who trained him. Not giving an excuse because just like Ted say, you signed that contract. Yeah. But if we go nitpick fighters like Bud did with the eye thing, I mean we got to be even on both fields.
Yeah, he said
where did Crawford fight Kell Brook at?
In the pandemic with no crowd, I forgot where it was at. Was it Vegas?
I'm sure it was. Yeah, I'm sure it was Vegas, or I know it wasn't nowhere else. Mm-hmm. It wasn't on the East Coast. Had to be Vegas. Mm-hmm. Guess what? No crowd, no nothing. Mm-hmm. Half a camp. It's just terrible. Errol fought Kell Brook all the way across the pond.
Yep.
Getting chocolate thrown at him. You know what I'm saying? Racial slurs, all types of stuff. You know what I mean? Like
they were throwing brownies at him. He said when he was coming to the ring.
Yeah, that's not easy to do psychologically. That's not easy to do.
Yep.
You feel me?
Facts.
They fought in Vegas. Yeah, they fought in Vegas.
Yep.
But Crawford did get him out of there. He got killed.
The way he got killed out of there was funny, dog. When Kell got hit, bro, it was like, bro, he didn't know where he was at, dog. Crawford hit him with that counter punch. He was like,
I was confused.
Kell was like, I can't see. What he hit me with?
I was so confused, man.
Yeah, I was like, what just happened?
No, I said this dude is a menace, and that just
I
goes
was
to show
like,
you we still love Crawford, man. You
yeah,
know what I'm
man.
saying? But that no Hall of Fame type of talk. I don't care if he don't go to the Hall of Fame. That ain't for you to talk about. Be
Hmm.
a champion.
Yeah.
Go track down these guys you looking for. You know what I'm saying?
He
Like,
should have never said that.
Yeah.
Hey, but look,
nah.
though, I'm gonna say this though. If he beat Canelo, all of this, everything he said is valid, bro. I don't care.
No, if Crawford beats Canelo, Crawford's my pound for pound number one.
Facts.
Hey, he might
I've
be
never
one
said
of
that
the
before.
greatest of all
Yeah,
time. He beat Canelo.
facts,
Mm,
facts.
I wouldn't say all time, but because
And
boxing is such an old sport, it's so many fighters. I can't really pick a like I can pick a greatest of all time, but it's real hard because
Man, he'll be up there.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Oh
yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, without a question.
yeah.
Like first ballot. As soon as he say I'm done fighting, he need to be having a ceremony.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sean Porter, man, that was a good fight too. And
He surprised me in that fight.
that show it really showed the dog in Crawford because I remember when he was sitting down and I think Bowman said he was losing, and he was like, "How?" And he was like, "All right, bet." And he went in there and he got Sean Porter up out of there, like
Real fast.
Yeah.
he's like, "How?"
Yeah,
He was
real
like,
fast.
"All right."
He was losing too.
Say that.
Yeah. But then he
Yeah.
turned it up and got him out of there. So man, respect to Crawford,
Only
man.
thing I didn't like about Only thing I didn't like about that, Sean, though, is because literally, I don't know if y'all remember this, and I ain't just trying to make up nothing. I swear to God, I ain't. But on my brother, bro, soon as that Spence fight was done, what did Crawford? I mean, soon as that Spence fight was done, what did Sean Porter say? He said, "I'm
he was
done.
ready to retire.
Yeah.
I'm retired."
Yep.
He said that. Am I lying?
Nope.
Did anybody
You're
see
not lying.
those? Yeah, he said this himself. He said, "I'm retired. I'm done." Like, next thing you know, he gets the opportunity to fight Crawford. Now you gotta try to find in your soul, like you just told us you were done, and now you gotta try to get it back up and try to go back into a camp and try, man.
Well, he didn't say he was done. He was trying to get the rematch, and then when he figured out he couldn't get the rematch, then they offered him the Crawford fight because Spence got into an accident, so he was trying to. They was really about to do a rematch. He got into an accident, and then he was like, "All right, I'll fight Bud." But they was friends too. Shout out to Shakur.
They was friends.
Shout out to Shakur and Keyshawn again.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, they was actually friends. They was actually good friends to where Sean Porter was like, if we do fight, it's something that me and him will have to sit down and talk about.
Yeah.
Yep. David Avenesian, I mean, we know that one, the whole, pulling out of the contract, which doesn't matter because the fight actually happened with TKO with Errol Spence.
Bro, I swear to God, before this Canelo fight, you already know Crawford probably gonna have another fight just in between. You know he's gonna be fighting Avenesian too. You're gonna be a David Avenesian too. Watch on BLK Brown.
Yep. So I'm gonna flash these two. If you were to erase out of your head everything we said about, and you look at both of these resumes, I mean, it's you can see who has the better resume at 147, right?
Yeah.
So this is why we say it's kind of like, it's not crazy, but it's kind of like dishonorable for him to just be like,
stop the cap down. Is what it is.
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's stop the cap.
Yeah.
And like I said, he's shooting his own self in the foot when he do stuff like that. Like he diminishing his own career. Like,
yeah,
it don't even make sense.
Even without the car crashes, we could throw all that stuff out the drain. We were just trying to let y'all know where the people be coming from who be saying like, no, Spence's Hall of Fame material. You know what I'm saying? That's the only reason we brought the car crash stuff in. But even resume for resume without the crash, it's not even a comparison, dog. David Avenesian would never even been on Spence's roster.
Yeah.
Spence would have been like, who? Y'all want me to
Yeah.
kill somebody?
Pop CJ, when you talk about it, he's the guy. Hey, look, I don't think you was in here, and I don't think you jumped in the very beginning. I said that Bossa Hair Podcast is not a yes man podcast. I mean, even fighters we love, like we still gonna talk about it. Just like what Errol Spence. It's a few things he did wrong with his career, and he admitted it. One was drinking. Two, I don't know why he left Blu-ray. I don't know why he left Blu-ray. When you're working with a strength conditioning coach and you got 10 straight KOs working with the same guy, you don't leave. And I think he got the big head. Especially during the Sean Porter fight. That's when he fought Sean Porter, he was fat compared to his regular self. So it's a lot of stuff that Spence messed up on. The drinking, the partying, like not working out with Blu-ray. Not eating right. He was blowing up and when he didn't have a fight, he was just walking weight and he had to drop all that weight and stuff and do sinus suits and then
hang around with Yellow Beezy.
Yeah,
that's on me, baby.
Yeah, hanging out with Yellow Beezy. Just not taking the game serious. And even with the car crash, he was intoxicated. And we don't keep it 100. Like, you was intoxicated, you was driving. We keep it a butt. Like, you was drinking and driving. And
he was his worst enemy.
Yeah.
That was a Ferrari he was in too, right?
Huh? Yeah.
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 So that's why he kept on saying, man, I just went and bought a real horse because Ferrari don't kill me. Yep. Yeah.
And to keep it 100, Bud had a clean lifestyle. He had a clean lifestyle. Like, he didn't drink, he didn't smoke, he didn't do none of that. Terence Crawford is a gym rat. You know what I'm saying? He stay in that gym. And he worked on his craft. He prepared for Errol Spence. Like, when you listen to Bomac and how he prepared him, bro, he had him throwing a different type of jab. Like, they were saying that Bomac trained him on how to throw his jab a certain way at Spence, and he said they went over and over and over and over and over the same jab over and over and over again. Like, at the end of the day, man, like, that's where it falls down to. But we just wanted to break down just Spencer's story for people who probably didn't know. You had a lot of casual fans who that was their first time seeing Spence, and they was like, dang. You know what I'm saying? So,
man.
Right. Yep. But I will say something about both fighters. Like, one thing you'll never hear me say, like, Crawford is a great father, man. Great father. He a great family man. Like, he stayed true to his real friends, like all his real friends, like Bernie the Bosser, Steven Nelson. Like, even with Steven Nelson, he told Turkey, like, hey, if you want me to fight on your cards, you got to put my boy on. And you see Steven Nelson been getting fights. Like, he a good family man. He a great friend from what I'm seeing. He's a solid dude. Just like I said earlier, sometimes when we be talking crazy or we do something crazy, sometimes it takes for somebody to be like, hey, bro, you kind of tripping. And that's what the Boxing Head podcast is doing. We like, hey, Crawford, hell of a performance against Spence. But hey, bro, let's keep it a buck, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's really keep it a buck, bro. But what y'all got, to say, to close out?
I just want to close with saying I ain't got no boxing news today because I was kind of flying through traffic trying to get here. But Sylvester Stallone is in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Boxing Hall of Fame. So, let my boy Spence in. Let's stop the capitry. Stop the cap. And we moving on. We moving forward.
Yep. What about you, Tez?
No, man. I just want to say Spence is for sure a Hall of Famer, man. He was a 3-time unified champ. Hopefully he get to come back with his other Texas boys that's supposed to be coming back.
Oh yeah.
You sent the picture to the group. So and I just seen something about Jamal is already scheduled to be on some card. NBA.
Yeah, Jamal's gonna be on the May 31st card with Caleb Plant is on the same card too.
Okay, yeah. So
May 31st. Yep. So he's back at it.
I guess
they better have some security in that.
Yeah, they got to. They got to.
Sure.
So I guess we get to see Jamal versus Plant after that slap. After he said he slapped him twice. So I guess we didn't get to see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Earl is for sure a Hall of Famer. Hopefully he can come back. I don't really got on news either. I'm just ready for this Ryan. I'm ready to see Ryan in them fight. That whole card fire. I'm ready to see that, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So then we got a few fights coming up. We got a few fights coming up, but yeah, without going over time, man, we'll see y'all next Wednesday. Keep it boxing, keep it in the square circle, man. I hope we at least tried to keep it non-biased, but if we didn't, oh well. Keep it boxing, keep it in the square circle. Much respect to Errol Spence Jr. Much respect to Terence Crawford and their careers, getting in that ring and staying out of, they both could retire right now and, be talked about from years from now. So much respect to both fighters, and we out.
If you taking jabs in life, you ain't got a puncher's chance. Watch me lay these hands like a preacher gained a bunch of fans. Ain't about who the favorite, who the best. They a bunch of stands. Know I'm highly favored 'cause